Good evening and welcome once again to Discover South Florida, coming to you live from Podcast Junkie Studios in downtown Boca Raton. Here is the man once again, Larry Mastropieri, broker, owner of the Mastropieri Group. We have Ben Castro behind the camera, keeping tabs on everything that goes right and goes wrong. It's not us, it's him. And I'm John Laws, here to talk to you about all things real estate and maybe a few other things as well. But we'll keep it here in South Florida. And we have an interesting topic. Larry, don't stop me if you've heard this before. But it turns out Related Ross is about to unveil another luxury project. Get this, in downtown West Palm Beach.
No.
Yeah, it's happening. According to reports here, we have Edgeworth will rise as two 28-story towers along the West Palm Beach waterfront, delivering 168 residences ranging from 1 to 5 bedrooms, including 9 penthouses. Oh my goodness. Prices starting at $2.5 million, topping out at a whopping $35.5 million. And this is Con Peterson. Fox is the architect, and March and White Design is handling interiors, which the developer describes as a quote-unquote Riviera-inspired aesthetic. I don't know about you, man. I just got chills just saying that.
Sounds so luxurious.
So I'm sure you probably have already seen some of the details with this. What stood out to you at first glance?
Well, $35.5 million is definitely a new stretch point for these high-end penthouses in that area, right?
Nine of them.
Yeah, and so they're going to go for it. But again, they have so much business evidence that this can work because they've been doing this. Like, this isn't. I mean, I can't keep track of how many of these things, right? I just like every time we read or jump on here, it's one new project in downtown West Palm, right? So. Yeah, I mean, this is right. We can throw it on the screen. Location. It's right in the heart of downtown West Palm. So this is like prime real estate. This makes sense. It's right there. It's on the south side, which starts to get into that area where all the luxury homes are being built just east of Federal Highway or US 1 and north of Southern. We're working with a client right now who's looking at property in that area, and I mean every block has like 4 new ground up construction deals that are like anywhere from minimum $5 million to and up, right? $5 million to $15 million depending on where you are, which is just wild.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in a different city every time I go up there.
Yeah, especially in that southern so-so they call it.
It's more than so-so.
Yeah, exactly. It's unbelievable how much new construction is happening there and the absorption. It's like it is getting acquired. Don't get me wrong. It's slowed down and inventory has started to climb in pretty much all asset types and price points, but it's still getting absorbed, and that's the point they make in this article. It's like, let's see, somewhere in here they're talking about other projects that South Flagler House. So I don't know, Ben, if you could pull up where South Flagler House is. You can just Google it real quick since we don't have a link to it. The project generated over $500 million in pre-construction sales in just Q1 of 2026.
In pre-construction.
These guys aren't done. So they're already advertising or launching their new deal, and they haven't even finished construction on this one, and they got many others going on, right? So that they say Edgeworth is positioned as the next opportunity for buyers who missed that window to buy in South Flagler House, and you can kind of see where that's at. Yeah, so it's kind of in the same area. It's adjacent, right?
Do you have any theories? I don't mean to interrupt, but do you have any theories on what is generating so much demand? I know we've talked about these things, but it isn't like this is anything new to see these luxury projects coming to South Florida, especially post-pandemic, so on and so forth. But like, how do they keep it going?
I just think there's a lot of wealth in the country, and then there's a lot of people trying to dodge taxes, right? And so South Florida has a unique environment for that. It's becoming Wall Street South. I mean, Related Ross frames Edgeworth as part of a broader $10 billion investment in West Palm Beach, and that's just Related Ross investing $10 billion. Let's not like all the other guys that are running around here right now. So it's a combination of all this. I think South Florida has this unique advantage that it's in Florida. You have the tax incentives, plus you have the industry. They say here Blackstone, Microsoft. You just go down the list of all these big companies that BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo all have established expanded presence here in West Palm Beach, bringing a concentrated pool of high net worth buyers. Plus, you just have over the bridge in Palm Beach, you just have this crazy wealth, which is just on another level. And so you have everybody kind of, and that's where I think it's kind of interesting. Like the client I'm working with right now, he wants to be in Palm Beach, but Palm Beach, I don't want to say it's too expensive for him because he could afford to be there, but he's just like, ugh, do I have to spend that crazy amount of money?
Right.
So what do? I go over the bridge. And so now I'm in West Palm Beach, but like that's under crazy development. And so you have this opportunity where you're kind of a part of this, like, yeah, I live in Palm Beach or West Palm Beach type thing. And you're riding the wave, and it's likely a good investment. So like forget like just ego for a second, which is what I was like kind of alluding to. It's also that. And that's why I think you get these like pop-ups of like $35 million for a penthouse.
That's crazy.
In a tertiary market in West Palm Beach. Some people like from Miami might be like, are you crazy to pay $35 million for a West Palm Beach penthouse when you could be in Miami, in like a real city, arguably, right? Like they would probably say. But again, like that's West Palm Beach is becoming a real city, and there's big money bet on this success and being invested in. I mean, it's just insane.
And I would argue that it's becoming a real city without becoming too saturated. You know what I mean? Because as we've talked about many times when I'm whining about it, is how Miami, it always feels like sensory overload. It's too much. And I think for people who aren't from there might feel the same thing. It's like, really? I mean, I can't even see the ocean because all I ever see are these ginormous high rises in all directions.
Yeah, I think there's like a choice when you relocate to South Florida. Culturally, what do you want to experience, right? Yeah. Or demographically, what do you want to experience? And there's certain demos / cultures in certain areas that you may want to be a part of or may not find as interesting. And so you make the choice between, West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and then obviously there's all the in-betweens that you could talk about. But if we're just talking about the three big cities here, that's a thing. And then also you kind of establish like work. What does that look like, right? Employment, industry, et cetera, and how does that affect you personally? But a lot of West Palm is just this like large, like I would say it's not, cities are always skew younger, but the big money sometimes is like a little bit more experienced or older, like Wall Street guys or New York South guys, right? Whereas like in Brickell, as an example, in Miami, you get a lot of the younger finance guys spend their time there. I know this because like a lot of my friends, I grew up in New Jersey, and they work in finance in New York, and they fly down every other weekend during the winter to where? Miami. They're not flying down to West Palm Beach to party. They're flying down to Miami to party. And so the dynamic is just way different. But again, West Palm has its own culture, its own thing,
and that's its own appeal. Absolutely,
yeah, 100%. So I think it's a combination of like the dodge taxes, and also you're making this like bet or investment that things are going to go really well if you invest here, and so those two things are big. And again, these big developers are like saying it. They're saying, hey, buy at Edgeworth, right, and be a part of or ride the wave of the next $10 billion I'm going to invest here. And arguably that will raise all ships.
Right. I'm like, okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I think that's interesting. They also comment on like, okay, Ross is obviously investing in ultra luxury, right? This is the thing. Like they're building a lot of luxury condos. And so what are they doing to, simultaneously position themselves to like have lower income or support the actual humans who who work and serve the community. And so they talked about that project we were talking about last week, maybe on Sappadilla, 209 North Sappadilla Ave, which again we ranted about this forever. So go check out our previous pod on that. That's another project that's transforming another area of West Palm that I was going to say needs it, but it will transform another area of West Palm that's like underdeveloped and is pretty rough. And so again, the expansion is just going out from there, and the investment's going to continue to improve the area. So,
all right. So we going to talk about actor Kevin James. I know you love the celebrity stories.
I love celebrity stories.
That's right. For anyone who remembers the sitcom King of Queens back in the early 2000s, well, Kevin James, let's just say the King of Queens is now in South Florida because actor Kevin James paid $17.15 million for a turnkey mansion in Royal Palm and Yacht Club. 2 years ago, he had sold a Delray Beach mansion at a loss after a lawsuit over a faulty elevator. I hate when the faulty elevators in my house, when they go out, it's the worst.
It's tough.
And well, anyway, this time he went straight for a brand new spec home, no surprises, no repairs, and a golf cart bay included. It's very nice.
So when he was shopping for this, he came.
Did he call you?
He came into one of our listings.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I hung out with him for a little bit. Him and
when were you going to tell me this?
I don't know. I probably told you this.
Yeah,
you just don't remember.
Yeah.
It was one of our listings. It was a condo, whatever. And actually, this was a little while ago. I had my ACL. I was.
Oh yeah,
right?
That was like, yeah.
So I had my ACL issue, whatever, and so I came in on crutches to show this place, and then he shows up and he had like a boot on his foot. So I don't know, he hurt himself too, and we're like crippling through this like condo community together. It was really funny, but he's a super nice guy, and so he was running around shopping, looking at everything. But maybe that's why he was upset about his elevator. That's what I was gonna say, because maybe he couldn't get up the stairs.
Wow. Suddenly it all makes sense.
See,
Look at
there you go.
Man.
There you go. See? Yeah. So let's see. 2 years ago, he sold the Delray Mansion, as you mentioned, which was a pretty cool place. It was on A1A or right next to A1A, right in downtown Delray.
Oh, wow.
I think that's an epic spot. It's interesting that he sold that to buy this. Don't get me wrong. Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club is awesome. And Ben, whenever you have a second, you could pull up Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club because I want to talk about just like, so you know where it's at. If you want to pull it up on Zillow, we can take a look because I want to share just like how insane this place is. Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club is arguably one of, if not the top neighborhoods to own a home in Boca Raton. Mm-hmm. Some people might dispute that a little bit, but if you want to live in East Boca, close to downtown, there are very few other neighborhoods to consider if you have the money, right? So, yeah. So, like, I mean, this is an example of it. If you zoom in a little bit, you could see, 19. There's even bigger numbers than that, right? And some of these homes are, like, not new construction. So, really, so we've sold some homes in here.
Right. You weren't going to say Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce renting out a place last summer there for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. So, there you go. So, this is
25.
This is where the T-Swizzy was living for a little bit.
40.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say 40. 40 is kind of the number for like those big waterfront lots.
I was going to say, right? I feel like as you kept going south, it just kept going up.
Yeah. If you own waterfront in Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club, you have some of the most expensive real estate in Boca, and it's some of the most prestigious real estate in Boca. I'll just give you my pitch on this. I think this neighborhood's awesome.
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah.
And I've spent a lot of time in here at different events, functions, and selling real estate. So Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club has the advantage of, number one, you're just in a high security neighborhood that, by the way, they have cameras on like every corner.
I know, right, without actually being gated. When you did that video showing the different security systems, yes, it's amazing. Like the fact that it's not gated and yet they are 100% comfortable letting people go about their business means, I'm sure they are on you like a hawk the moment you step foot.
You can't loiter for 2 seconds in that neighborhood. I'm not kidding. So you drive in. Not many people know this. Everybody thinks you can't drive in. You can just drive straight in, but they get your plate as soon as you drive through on the camera, and then they're monitoring you throughout the community.
Picturing
and if
like
you stop,
laser tags on you, like the whole.
yeah, they got drones they send up as soon as you come in to track the cars. Yeah. And as soon as you stop, and if you spend too much time stopping, like roaming security guard, armed, obviously, is on you within, I don't know, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. It's legit.
That sounds like if they're slacking.
That's if they're slacking, seriously. And so then they also have, it's a country club, but there's no membership requirement there, which is kind of unique.
Yeah.
So you're a member if you want to be a member, and if you have people vouching for you. Like it's not just I bought a home in the neighborhood, I can be a member. That's not how it works. You have to have people in the club.
I'm gonna go kiss up to the neighbor and see, yeah.
100%. So you have to have people in the club vouch for you to get into the club. And the club has its own marina, which is cool. So a lot of people who are there, who live there, they may not own waterfront property, but they keep their boat in the marina. And then they host great events. By the way, they have a restaurant in there, and that restaurant will deliver food to your house. They'll cook it every night for you, every lunch for you, whatever you want. It's really cool. Yeah, it's the life.
Yeah,
it's the life.
Sounds like.
And the food is amazing, and the amenities are great. It's just it's a great spot. It's and as we alluded to, there's a lot of super low key, ultra wealthy, and in my opinion, very down to earth people in that neighborhood.
The median is 11.4 million.
Yeah, so this is the point, right?
Wow,
it's insane. It's insane. The prices have gone up by 20% year over year in Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club. If you made a bet in here, you did really, really well. So we bought and built a house, right? Mm-hmm. So it was for me between this neighborhood and another neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And when I was reading this earlier today, I was like, I screwed up. Yeah, we should have bought the dirt in this neighborhood because this was pre-2020.
Oh.
Pre-COVID.
And they had open lots?
They do, and so they build on them in there, and there's a few select builders that really spend a lot of time. Actually, we're really close with one of the builders in this community, and he builds most of the homes there. I think this one was built by Primo, which isn't the builder I'm referencing, but there's another guy that he primarily only builds in there. It's kind of crazy to say. And what's really unique about this neighborhood, another fun fact, is there was a certain amount, I don't know the number of lots in the neighborhood, but there's less lots in the neighborhood today than there were when they started. Why? Because people are knocking down the two homes and putting one house on it.
I see.
So, and for the most part, a lot of people who buy in there, they usually buy, then eventually they sell and they upgrade to a bigger, newer home. And they usually sell their older home to the builder who's going to go knock it down. This is the in there they run what they call actuary tables for when a house is going to be bulldozed. So like the developers, they have a whole map and they say, okay, here's all the homes that are left to develop. And then again, a lot of these builders have been in there for a long time, so they've built homes. And then now they're knocking them down again and building again because this neighborhood has gone up so much in value that you can knock down a home built in 2009, and that makes sense. You know what I mean? That's insane. That's insane. This is one of the very few neighborhoods where I can say I've negotiated a deal that was built in 2009, 2010. And the buyer eventually knocked the thing down and built on it. Crazy.
Back in the Stone Age of 2009.
Crazy, yeah.
Wow.
So Kevin James bought this residence. And it was really cool. As we said, it was built by Primo Luxury Homes and designed by Ariana Toscone.
Nice.
Right? Did I kill it?
No,
Great.
Close enough.
The 8,685 square foot home features 6 bedrooms, 8.5 bathrooms, a club room, office, large wine room, bar, pool, several balconies, and Control 4 home automation system, which goes without saying. That's kind of standard in all this stuff we're doing. It's got a 4-car garage, which includes a dedicated golf cart bay, giving direct access to the neighborhood, and it has a Neighborhoods Jack Nicklaus design golf course, which is also an awesome golf course. But again, you only have access to that if you're a member of the country club. So, And you can still, like some of the owners that I've sold homes to in there, I mean, they jump on their golf cart and they drive to downtown Boca, or they're also members. So usually they're members of the country club and they're members of the Boca Raton club. And so they just live the dream, man.
Let's just say, I mean, but somebody like a Kevin James who's very recognizable, I'd imagine he would probably get a pass just because, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure because
it's not the right kind of money or something. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I'm sure some people would be very willing to vouch for him.
Right. Like, have you ever seen that show? It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. The lot traded for $5 million in 2023. The finished product sold for $17.15 million to Kevin James. That's a roughly 240% increase in value through the new construction process. This is crazy. So again, remember, these guys are building at like sometimes 1,000 or more per foot in these communities. So you think about what they may have spent to do this. They probably spent $8 million, right?
Yeah.
You know, something like that, building this home. So 5, 8, right? You kind of can do the math there. There's obviously a nice profit margin for these guys who are building these things, but it's not small dollars what it takes to build these ultra luxury homes. I mean, we've seen stuff as high as $2,000 a foot new construction. So you can see that. Yeah, look at that right there. Look at that spike.
Where was the dip?
Over 3 years.
Was that? Oh, this is over. Sorry, I couldn't see.
That's
the
a
small
3-year
numbers.
window.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So, unlike other neighborhoods, Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club has rode this wave, and this is like a lesson I take away from just like just seeing how the market moves different neighborhoods. You have this ultra premier, super luxury neighborhood that in 2019 you could have bought in and done really well and held till now. Obviously, everybody did really well, but in 2022, 2023. You still could have bought in, unlike other markets or other neighborhoods outside of Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club. You still could have bought in, and you still would have made a bunch of money. The neighborhood would have pushed up, which is really interesting because I was helping buyers buy in Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club in 22, 23, and we were kind of a little timid on some level, saying, maybe this is the peak, maybe things are going to flatten out. We have to be careful what we pay. And I talked to one of the guys recently, and he's just like, "Oh my God, thank God we paid what we paid for this thing and didn't like back out of the deal."
Yeah,
and that was like a $7 or $8 million transaction, and we were both feeling a little uneasy, like, okay, we might be at the peak here, and now that house is worth well above what he paid for it, and that's not what we typically see in Boca Raton right now. If you bought in 22, 23, 24, 25. It's not likely that you're selling for much more than what you paid for it if you did nothing to the home, et cetera, et cetera. I just left a house, this is a totally different price bracket, but they paid $675 in 2022, April of 2022. We talked about what it's worth today, and it's worth somewhere in the sixes. So
really?
It's worth $675 maybe if they're lucky, maybe $7. And so that's the typical conversation we're having, not the alternative. Yeah. Not the, hey, prices are up way more, you're going to get more. But in Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club, look at that. Look at what they've done. So, one, I think it's the ultra-luxury market's just performing really well. 2, it's the neighborhood.
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to say, is this indicative of the ultra-luxury market just doing well, or is there something special about Royal Palm and Yacht Club that sets it apart from other neighborhoods in that same range?
I think if you bought in 22 in, say, my neighborhood, which is Boca Raton Riviera, which is super East Boca, block from the beach, that's where we built our home and bought it, bought the lot and built our home, and you compare that to Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club, I think you would have made a lot more money in Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club. And that's why I was reflecting on this, and I was saying, I don't know if I made the same bet. By the way, the dirt in Riviera, Boca Raton Riviera, cheaper than the dirt in Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club at the same time.
Oh, wait.
Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club always trades for a premium. I don't care if
it's got, but a lot of those homes are waterfront.
Yeah, but even not waterfront.
Oh, really?
Like you can call it dry lot to dry lot. you're probably you're paying more in Royal Palm Mountain Country Club today without question.
Well,
but I'm
yeah.
talking about 22 or 2019. It was always that way, right? And so that's the interesting fact. And so I chose to be closer to the beach. But in hindsight, if you buy into a neighborhood with that kind of branding, if you will, you're in over the past 5-10 years, you've won big time. So.
All right. Well, congratulations to all the winners out there. Hey, let's go to Washington. Apparently, Congress just changed the rules on condo insurance. So you may be wondering, what does this mean for Florida buyers? Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac just updated their condo insurance requirements in a way that could make hundreds of buildings qualify for mortgages that currently don't. Now, for Florida condo owners, the timing could not be more significant. Larry, why is that?
There's a lot of things that happened with this new law change. And so let's just dig into it together. I've had a number of conversations with lenders over the past week since this thing has changed. Yeah. And there's things that I think benefit and things that hurt condos. So it's not all positive. And I think understanding this today, if you're a condo owner, might save you. And I say that because there's certain things that are going to change that might make it harder to sell condos in coming months. So let's talk about it. I haven't spent a ton of time on this yet, but we'll riff on this a little bit, and then we'll probably put out an actual video where we really talk through detail, line by line, the changes that really matter and our opinion on them. So, all right, let's talk about it. So, under the new rules, condo buildings can insure their roofs on actual cash value basis, meaning coverage reflects the depreciated value of the roof rather than the full cost replacement if you put a new one on. The rest of the building still gets full replacement cost protection. So basically, it's basically saying, okay, you don't have to they can insure on actual cash value versus what it costs for a new roof. An actual cash value might be substantially less than what a new roof will cost. In all cases, it will likely be that. So,
well, that's a good thing, right?
So that helps reduce insurance costs.
Yeah.
Which, in theory, helps reduce HOA fees, which then, again, makes owning a condo a little bit more affordable, which hopefully will help the condo community sell more condos or move their condos, et cetera, right? And so net positive. That's good. The FHA was directed about this. The FHFA was direct about why. In their press release, they wrote, per the source, that full replacement roof coverage has become ridiculously expensive and hard to find in many states. So in some cases, it's really hard to even get the coverage, which is crazy, especially Florida. FHFA Director Bill Pulte framed the charges as a correction to what he called a disruptive and expensive Biden insurance mandate, stating updates would mean lower insurance costs and mortgage rates shrink the monthly payment of the new mortgage, giving new home buyers confidence that they can afford the American dream.
That sounds like a press release.
That's totally a press release. So, according to Insurify, average U.S. home insurance premiums are expected to rise another 4% in 2026, the fifth consecutive annual increase. The national average is currently $2,490 per year per NerdWallet, but Florida costs run significantly higher. Yeah, and so, a lot of the commentary I've heard, at least in South Florida, forget the whole U.S. housing market for a second, is insurance will be improving a little bit.
Right.
Primarily because there's just more ways to insure. There's more providers or more carriers out there, right? So most insurance guys I talk to are optimistic about the future of insurance. The reality is
well, yeah, the rates are going up. Of course, they're like, oh yeah, this is great.
No, I think they're most of them are optimistic that rates soften a little bit or prices come down a little bit. At the end of the day, if you are buying in South Florida, insurance costs a lot of money, and you just need to be prepared for it. And that's just what it is. There's really, it may go up, it may go down. It's always going to be super expensive. It's always been super expensive. It's just gotten a lot more expensive over the past 5 years. But what hasn't?
True.
So like we shouldn't just blame insurance. But there were issues with the insurance system, and
right.
some of these things arguably are being worked on or solved. There's been things in place. Yeah.
So I guess big picture from everything you've seen up to this point, are you feeling good about this? Is this helping you sleep at night, Larry?
This is great.
Really?
This right here, in the sense of like what they did with this specifically, this is good. It's going to help reduce costs a little bit, and we'll see. We think it will, and so we'll see where that goes. As far as the other rules that were rolled out or changes that were rolled out, I don't even think we have them here. Here we go. Additional information. FHFA policy changes. We'll just stumble through this and see if there's any other value we can add for you guys while we're talking here, just because we haven't gone through this with a fine-tooth comb yet. Let's see.
Well, the one that stood out to me was simplified deductible rules for condo buildings. Does that mean anything to you? Like, is deductibles kind of a pain when it comes to dealing with insurance at a condo?
I think probably it's helpful, right? I mean, in our, like, if you can simplify deductible rules and not make them so complicated, that's like a net helpful thing.
Yeah.
I think my bigger concerns are around the mortgage stuff per se.
Okay.
So like, see this upcoming requirement starting January 4th, 2027, condo associations must allocate 15% of annual budget income to capital expenditures and deferred maintenance, up from 10% currently. If you talk to most mortgage guys, they'll tell you like most buildings don't hit the 10% anyway. So now we're going up to 15. A lot of these buildings aren't going to qualify. Mm-hmm. So that was one that they were saying, okay, that's a problem. And so now interest rates go up, different programs are rolled out that cost more in order to buy these condos. So this is a thing that like maybe if you believe this is really going to hurt, which I think it will hurt the condo market a little bit, mm-hmm. But there's going to be workarounds. People are going to work through it. This is the other, like if you talk to some of the other mortgage guys I've spoke with, they're like, I'll make a bet that there's going to be workarounds. Okay, great. That's cool. So
there's always a workaround.
So these guys are going to work on it, right? Like mortgage companies are going to come out, they're going to figure out other solutions, how to get around this. But this is for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, right? Yeah. So these requirements are for the conforming loans for everyone's benefit. So a conforming loan is a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loan, a loan that can be sold on the secondary market. And it's a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, quasi-government entities controlled by the Federal Housing and Finance Agency. And so that's why we keep saying the FHFA rolled out these rules. Why does it matter that the FHFA is rolling out these rules, or what power do they have over anyone? They don't really have any power. They're not requiring these things to be done by the condos. The condo buildings aren't required to do this. But if they don't do it, well, then then the building can't get financing from a conforming loan product, such as a loan product that will be purchased by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So now you need to go non-QM. So what that means is you could, if you have a QM loan, a qualified mortgage or conforming product, you can get a 5% down loan. Now, or a 10% or 15% or 20%, you name it, whatever, but you can go low. Now, if you don't have a conforming loan product or a QM loan, qualified mortgage, then what you get is a non-conforming product, which is basically a loan product that is held on the lender's balance sheet. They can't go sell it to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac to get more money back to go do another loan. They actually have to hold this thing. Mm-hmm. So if they're holding this thing, they want good interest rates, so they want higher interest rates. They also want to protect themselves because there's a little risk here. That's why Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac aren't lending on this thing. It's riskier. So if it's riskier, higher interest rates. But also to eliminate the risk a little bit, I want you to put more down. I want you to put 25% down. So now you can do deals like this but you have to do a non-QM product that requires maybe 25% down, a higher interest rate. There's not a lot of lenders that are doing this stuff because, well, it's not, they got to hold it on their balance sheet. They can't just loan it and then sell it like you do with the Fannie Mae stuff, so they don't get to keep doing loans. They got to use the money that they have, and then they run out of money, right? Or they got to sell it in a different secondary market, right? So it's a little bit more of a unique thing, and that's why Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were built. They were built to create liquidity for the mortgage market. They were built to say, you want to be a lender, great, lend money. I'll buy it from you so you can keep lending money so we can promote home ownership and provide liquidity in the housing market, specifically the residential housing market. So anyway, that's the quick download for you for whatever it's worth on what this does. But so that's one of them. The other one I was talking about, let me see if I can jog my memory, because there was one other issue that was of concern that rolls out in August. Oh, so there's supposedly no longer a limited review for condo loans. What does that mean? You have to do a full review. That means usually you can dodge some of the more complicated issues if you can qualify for a limited review with a loan product. So you do this limited review and you don't have a lot of these other complications.
For example,
reserves,
okay.
Litigation, just different stuff that you might be able to avoid in this limited review, which usually helps us get loans done in these condo buildings. But if you eliminate that, so Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, supposedly in August, no more limited reviews, and we'll get in the weeds on this a little bit more, where I can be very articulate on exactly why this is a big problem. But it is a big problem. Let's not call it a big problem. It's going to limit how many loans can be done that are conforming, that are done with Fannie and Freddie. So these two things, increasing from 10% to 15% of the annual budget income to capital expenses and deferred maintenance requirements, is one. That happens in January. The second one is, which supposedly happens in August. Again, don't quote me on this because it's not on this page, and I was just going over this stuff with other guys recently, but supposedly happens in August. They're removing the limited review, so only full reviews for condo buildings when you do a Fannie Freddie type loan. And again, that creates a situation where you can't squeak by some deals that otherwise would have a problem under a full review, and thus you'd have to go non-QM. The limited review gives you the ability to still do the Fannie Freddie thing, but you don't have as many requirements there. And so that's supposedly going to be a big one. And that's where some of the guys I was talking to, they're like, we're going to figure out a workaround, right? And it's like, well, yeah, the workaround is a non-QM deal. That's what it is. It's 25% down, higher interest rates. So while they are helping this FHFA stuff, while it is helping, it's also hurting a little bit as well. So overall, it's TBD on how the market's going to respond to this when all these things roll out.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a tiered rollout. But this goes back to if you're thinking about selling a condo, maybe you want to think about doing it now instead of after these two rules kind of hit you hard.
But I'd imagine currently when it comes to people trying to sell their condos, they were trying like heck to sell their condos and because of the issues with the structural assessments and so on and so forth, that was making it difficult, right?
Yeah, all that other stuff. Besides this is all mortgage stuff we're talking about.
Right.
If you talk about the actual stuff that's happening, insurance is just up. It just costs more.
Yeah.
The requirements to reserve by the state. Forget the lender for a second. The state is requiring you to have reserves or do engineering studies that tell you how many reserves you have, and then you have to follow that, or do engineering studies and then do the work they tell you to do. Who would have thought, right? That you were before able to vote to forget about until a building collapsed, and then they were like, no, you can no longer vote to not do maintenance. You can't do that anymore. So anyway, so those things were always an issue or have been an issue for the past couple of years since these state rules have been rolled out, and all these assessments were rolling out. And yeah, they've been having a hard time selling, but at the end of the day, the market is still pretty healthy in South Florida. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's single family homes. Yeah, single family homes are a little bit better than condos, but like still healthy for condos. I'm selling condos every other week.
See, I know you are.
So like it's your price. It's the price you're asking for the property is why you're not selling your home. I don't know how many people I can tell this to, right? So that's why you can't sell. So maybe you should just adjust your price to where the market agrees with it and sell it before maybe it falls further, which is quite possible. And again, I've had this discussion. I've literally said this every 3 months or every other week for the past 4 years. And like the people who listen thank me today, to this day, the people who listen thank me for this. They call me up and they're like, "Did you see the most recent sale in that building? Holy God, thank God I sold that thing," right? And then the people who don't listen to me, they're upset, they're crying, they're whining, and we're selling their house for a condo for $100,000 less than what I told them it was worth last year, or whatever it is, right? And it's like, just guys, just if it's the right time to sell for you, sell. If you're not going to sell, be prepared to hold for 5 years. That's how you should think about this. But don't change your mind. That's the kicker.
If you're going to be wrong all the way.
Yeah, don't change your mind, because you change your mind halfway through, it's going to be a bloodbath for you. Period. And this is the conversation we have so often. So, yeah.
All right, let's go to Fort Lauderdale. A 1980s Fort Lauderdale office park is about to get 310 apartments. Okay. Feldman Equities and Graystar are seeking to rezone Pinnacle Corporate Park at 500 and 550 Northwest 62nd Street in Fort Lauderdale's Cypress Creek area. Now, Fort Lauderdale Planning and Zoning Board reviewed the application on March 18th. If approved, the City Commission would then need to sign off before a final site plan can be submitted. The rezoning request is from commercial and light industrial to the city's Uptown Urban District designation, a mixed-use category created specifically to encourage residential development in a neighborhood that is currently dominated by offices. So, trying to turn office space into livable space. Is that what we're taking away from this here?
Amen.
All right. Well, whatever it takes.
We know this, right? We need more resi in South Florida. There's a shortage of residential housing. The residential housing is expensive because there's a shortage and because the population keeps growing. So the more we can do, the better. And if we have an office building that's not productive, if you will, then it's like, well, maybe we should consider putting resi on it.
And especially at a time where, coming out of the pandemic, we were all beginning to question how much we necessarily need brick and mortar anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Here's my question. Does it feel like a lot of this has been maybe city governments dragging their feet on trying to accommodate the residential housing situation, or is it one of those where it's just progress is so slow in general with these kinds of things that, now we're finally deciding to remove some of this office space for residential dwellings?
I think it's a combination of everything. It's like, okay, things take time. That's just the reality of it, right? It's like, okay, we need to have a good business plan that we believe in as an investor or a developer to make this happen, right? And so different development companies or private equity firms, they're watching all these markets. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do, where they're going to put their dollars. And as they get more conviction on something, more and more people start doing it. And then it's like they're also making a bet that they're going to build something and it's going to work 2 years from now, right? Which is like, the development game is kind of crazy, right? I mean, you're betting millions and millions and sometimes billions of dollars, like Ross. Like, it's just like, wow. And you're betting for an outcome that's years from now. And like, how do you know what's gonna happen years from now? So I guess my point is, on the private side, it's like, okay, we need to really have some conviction around this stuff. And sometimes it takes time to get conviction, in the sense of like, okay, that guy did it down the street, it worked really well. That's one data point.
Yeah.
You got 4 more data points for me? Great. All right, now I can believe in it. But now that there's 4 more data points, well, maybe is it too late? So you just go through this like crazy analysis of how do you even project this stuff. But I think the answer around some of this stuff too is just timing on leases, and then you got to work with the city, and so it's all of that happening. and I think why you're seeing a 1980s office building be torn down is because the 80s product is not doing as well from an office perspective as Class A. We've talked about this, right? The Class A stuff, like in West Palm, that Ross is building, come back to Ross, or Jeff Green is building, that stuff rocks.
Yeah.
It sells because it rents really fast. It rents for crazy numbers. It's profitable. It works. It's because the certain
You got to spend money to make money, essentially.
Yeah, certain businesses will use that space. Like the BlackRocks, they need they need the really good office space. The tech companies, they need this. They need to attract talent, and like talent is not hanging out in a 1980s office building. If you're paying them $400,000 a year or $500,000 a year, right? This is not where they want to be. They'll go to another company that can offer something a little different, or have a better experience or whatever. So it's part of the pitch of why you want to, work with some of these bigger companies, which is why they get these big rents and that stuff. And so the 80s stuff kind of goes back to like mom and pop or smaller businesses that have figured out how to maybe outsource jobs or just remote work type setups, and maybe don't need it as much. And so they're not willing to pay as much. The demand is lower. And that I think is the reason why you can see like the Class C or B product getting torn down for resi, because it's like highest and best use residential if it's a 1980s building, right? I guess the question is why not put up Class A space there? Ben, maybe you throw on the screen where this is exactly. You probably already did, and I didn't see it because I was over here ranting. But can you tell I have a lot of energy right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, so where are we? So like this isn't like the heart of downtown. It's right by, that looks like Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, right? That's not Fort Lauderdale International. So interesting location, not maybe a Class A spot. I mean, you probably could put something there, but it looks like that's probably a better product or opportunity for a residential build in that area. Rental, etc. Versus like if you were in downtown Fort Lauderdale, it's like Class A. Okay, let's go Class A apartment building, or Class A office could be an option, like we're seeing in downtown Boca here, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the scoop. Let's
moving on to the NORA district. It's back.
Oh yeah, this is great.
Okay, NORA district's first for sale condo just launched, starting at $1 million. Do you want to take over on this one? I know you have spent a lot of time around here.
I'm pumped up about NORA. You know that. I've made a lot of bets on NORA going well. Let's put it that way. Too much, frankly. So NORA, please sell out. Let's keep going. I need you here. Yeah.
NORA to go, but up.
Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Oh gosh, yeah. So NORA, you could see it here. Again, that looks like a rooftop pool, right? Good move, NORA. This is what I'm talking about. We see that trend right now, and I think it's a smart trend.
Yeah.
Put it on the roof. It costs more money probably to put a pool on a roof. A little bit more risk, a lot of water above all the humans. Maybe not perfect, but the experience is way better. Put the pool on the roof, you get sun all day around. You get a little bit more building space on the ground, right? So you can just use all of that space to build on. But let's see here. The NORA district has been the most talked about new neighborhood in West Palm Beach for 2 years. You can finally buy a home in it now. Right there on the corner, basically. And so that whole little triangle is all NORA stuff. And so they have right now, I drove through it the other day, very recently, along the railroad there, all that once was industrial is now first floor retail, super walkable, really cool cobble street. I'll call it cobble, whatever, cobble street, whatever.
I know exactly.
Paver street.
I don't know what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's really well done, really fancy. There's restaurants moving in. There's office above it. Really cool vibe. They haven't really haven't done much with all those single family homes that are east of it along the railroad yet. So TBD to see what happens there and what they actually own versus what what they can like actually tear down and go from there. But it's coming together nicely. And so the condo building though is right on Federal Highway, right there. And so this will be a great addition. I think this will be a super cool place to own. It's just on the north end of West Palm. It's also not too far north where you're out of the action. It's like right on the edge, in my opinion. That's like as far north as I personally would want to go. If not, next you're into Northwood, and Northwood just is it's different. Obviously, it's super close to downtown West Palm, but if I'm thinking walkability or meet my friends in Clematis, I can take a quick, you can almost walk, but you take a quick Uber. It's like 2 seconds, or ride a bike or whatever into downtown. So I think that's like a really solid location. But I don't even think you need to go into downtown once NORA is done. I mean, you got so much stuff right there, and then you got Northwood directly north of it. So you got Northwood redeveloping that's walkable. You got downtown West Palm that's walkable, but it's a little bit of a distance, and then you have NORA right there. That's very, very, very.
It's crazy, man. Like all of it. I mean,
this is prime location.
Yeah. As we've talked about many times, in just such a short amount of time is what gets me.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's awesome. So Ronto Group has launched sales for NORA House. It's called NORA House, an 11-story, 117-unit condo building. What's cool is it's a condo building. You can actually buy this thing. You can own in here versus
an apartment
rental, because that they could have easily went that way. There may be rentals coming up in other buildings there. Yeah. We'll see what happens there. It's the first for-sale residential offering in the 40-acre master plan district. This is 40 acres they're redeveloping, right? Being developed by NDT Development, Place Projects, and Wheelock Street Capital. Prices start in the upper $1 millions. There you go. We knew it wasn't $1 million. Okay, groundbreaking is targeted for mid-2027. So they got some time here, with completion in 2029. Again, the move here for most of these Florida developments, especially these condo developments, is pre-sale to about 40%. You hit 40%, lender gives you all the money, not all the money, but gives you a bunch of money to go start the project, move some dirt, and build. If you don't hit the 40% pre-sale, then lender doesn't give you the money.
Yeah.
Now, and you don't build anything.
Now, here's a question.
I don't think NORA's going to have this problem.
Right. And you always talk about that with the pre-sales. Theoretically, say like it just sells like crazy overnight. Would they start moving dirt sooner than the original projections? Does it ever work like that? I mean, I
think the answer is yes.
Okay.
I think the answer is yes. So like I was talking to the people at the W, and so they're just like their whole thing was just like, as soon as we get it, we'll go. Mm-hmm. So that was their thing. So I think the groundbreaking target is mid-2027, and they're doing this to just manage expectations. Because if you come in there and you're the first buyer or the first pre-sale buyer in there, which I'm sure they already have one or more pre-sale buyers, because this is a thing people do, frankly. Like in South Florida, you have a lot of Latin American buyers, you have a lot of foreign buyers that kind of speculate that things are going to go really well, so they'll put their money in this thing, and then when it's done in 2029, they put it on the market for sale. We see this in a lot of the related projects, et cetera, et cetera. So the only developer not the only developer, but one of the developers that I've seen that kind of tries to prevent that from happening is GL. They say if you're not, at least in some of the communities, they're like, hey, if you can't prove that you're going to live here full time, or it's going to be for you, you're not investing. They won't sell you the house, which is kind of crazy, right? And they do this because they want to create a family environment.
I get
versus a whole bunch of speculators just buying all these single family homes to resell them. And that's the thing. In the condo buildings, it's a little different because you're not really like trying to build this like family neighborhood in a condo building that's on the ocean, right? It's just like that's not what it is. It's usually, again, a lot of foreign buyers and or people from the Northeast or Chicago or California that are relocating to the area, and or somebody who wants a second or third home, right? So anyway, 2029 completion, that's kind of far away,
right?
It's not. It isn't. Which is far away.
Which is kind of what made me ask. I was like, in theory, if things were just going so well, would they actually start moving dirt sooner? Not that I doubt that happens a lot, but I was just curious.
And when you actually do the math, we're not halfway through 2026, but we're getting there. And it's like, well, okay, it's 2.5 years, a little over 2.5 years. That's actually not that long, but if 2029 feels like a very distant, a distant thing. But
time's moving fast enough, Larry. I can't go any faster.
I know. But, under promise, over deliver. That's the move. And hopefully they can do that. Unlike the Mandarin Oriental in Boca Raton.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, okay, let's talk about this. 117 condos ranging from 2 bedrooms at 1,500 square feet to 4 bedrooms at 2,900 square feet, all with 10-foot ceilings. 10-foot ceilings, that's pretty solid. A lot of these newer construction sit around 9-foot ceilings, so 10-foot is nice. This is going to be pretty luxurious. Kitchens are equipped with Wolf 6-burner gas range, Sub-Zero, wine storage, and honed quartzite waterfall islands. Owner suites feature Bataloft soaking tubs, Callista rain shower islands or rain shower heads, and travertine flooring. The amenities program spans over 90,000 square feet. Okay, this is interesting. Let's see what they have here. Split across 2 zones. The 4th floor terrace is built for community and hosting with a lap pool. Okay, so this is the 4th floor.
Right.
Okay, so they must have like a terrace.
2 pools, maybe.
Okay, 4th floor terrace. So they have a lap pool. They have a pool spa and 6 guest suites for visitors. That's kind of neat. I've seen this in some buildings. So you can, if you live there and someone comes to visit you, you don't actually have to have them stay with you. You can rent one of these 6 guest suites.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat. And so we've seen that in some other buildings. The rooftop is built for wellness and recreation with 2 pickleball courts. So on the roof, we got 2 pickleball courts, a techno gym fitness center, yoga lawn, spa, hot and cold plunge pools, okay, bowling alley, golf simulator, sauna, steam rooms, and outdoor bar. This has got some pretty solid amenities.
Am I understanding this correctly? A hot and cold plunge?
Yeah, you got both.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you got to get hot, and you got to get cold, and you got to get hot again. You got to do the routine. Have you ever done this before, John?
No, but it was making me think about The Princess Bride or whatever, when the Spaniard, he was trying to sober him up, and Andre the Giant is dumping him from one barrel to the other. That's immediately what I thought of.
That's so great. Yeah, so that's it. That's the
inconceivable.
Move.
Exactly. Oh, man. All right. So
let's see. The flagship unit, Residence 16, offers 4 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms across 2,960 square feet with 97-foot wraparound terrace totaling nearly 600 square feet of outdoor space. A 4th floor variant of the same plan, called Terrace 416, expands to 6,710 square feet, including a 3,750 square foot private terrace with turf and a built-in barbecue. Some of these sound awesome.
You make them sound good, man. I'll give you credit.
Wow, that's. I'm curious the price on those big boys. We'll get back to these.
We'll have plenty of time to find out on that.
I'll be running around with clients on this, and we'll find out what the scoop is. Most of West Palm's new condo construction is concentrated along the Intercoastal Waterway. NORA House offers a different value proposition. This is like building in downtown Boca versus building on the water in Boca, right? Similar kind of concept. Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of, let's see. They're talking about all the retail that's like walking distance. Curated retail at the door, including Pasties, Indico, Van Leeuwen Ice Cream, Warby Parker. That's interesting. And the NORA Hotel, which is expected to be completed in 2026. So they got a lot going on here. I think if you're in this community early, you probably do pretty well. I would be willing to make a bet on this. I think this location is pretty solid.
Yeah. I mean, considering everything that's going up around it, I don't see why not.
Yeah, this sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you also have cases of a Palm Beach mansion which just sold for $18 million. Okay, that makes sense. But the buyer gets to design the rest. Yeah, the walls are up, the roof is on, and the interior is a blank canvas. Someone just paid $18.16 million to have that. This is the 264 Dunbar Trust sold the property at get this, 264 Dunbar Road, to a new buyer trust for $18 million. Okay. The home is in the middle of construction. Buyer will be responsible for completing the interior build-out. When finished, it will total just under 6,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, 3 half bathrooms, a pool, a bar. Okay, you know, everything you expect with a Palm Beach mansion, including an elevator. Larry, do you see this very often? Buying an unfinished house with...
It's not as common today. In the pandemic, this was a thing, right?
Really?
It was like, okay, I'll buy it before it's done, and then I'll work with the developer or the builder to basically choose materials that I want to put in it, and then they finish it, right, for me. And then once they finish and get the CO, then we either close or we've already closed and they finish it, and then I move in after the CO happens. So this was once much more common. Again, this is ultra luxury, so people do whatever they want. And that's the reality of it. And so, yeah, you can look at it on the screen here. I mean, gorgeous home. Again, frankly, you know, 18 million for people who are out of the area, you know, that's a huge number, and they probably could get a much bigger house that's not on Palm Beach Island in other parts of the country. And this house actually isn't that big or grand for an $18 million spend in other parts of the country. But for Palm Beach Island, this is what you get. Right? Because we've talked about, I mean, I was with someone today, an agent that just put under contract a $60 million Palm Beach Island deal. And she was just like, she was saying to me, she's like, I typically sell $50 million in real estate a year. She's like, I just put a $60 million deal under contract. I've already crossed my threshold for, she's like, I'm going to sell $100 million. I'm going to sell $150 million in real estate this year. It's like, well, that's congrats. That's great. One deal for her, boom, just does the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But this is interesting.
I thought you were about to say she was going to go on vacation for the rest of the year. All right, guys, it's been a good run. I'll see you in 2027.
She was excited. She was super excited today. Yeah. The property traded for $14.34 million just a year ago in March 2025. It's already appreciated $3.82 million, or about 26%, purely through the demolition, foundation, and structural framing phases. The hardest and most time-consuming work is done, kind of. That's true and not true. It just depends on the execution. So new construction in Palm Beach currently runs a 24 to 30 month cycle from permit to completion. With the Palm Beach Architectural Review Commission, which is, by the way, very thorough, detailed, and strict about what their expectations are, that approval process for exteriors alone taking 6 to 12 months. By buying at this stage, the buyer skips all of that and steps in during the interior phase where they have full control over the finishes that drive the most value, in their opinion. So that's what I was referencing. We in most of the transactions I do, you can usually, like example, like a $5 million home in Boca that's new construction might take 18 months from start to finish, right? Versus this 24 to 30 month cycle, it's a little different. So that's something to keep in mind. So Palm Beach has its own unique thing, for sure. Some buyers at this level specifically want to choose their own kitchen, millwork, appliance brand, master suite layouts, and smart home systems. A turnkey home, no matter how well designed, is still someone else's vision. This purchase is a blank canvas inside a finished shell. True, all true. A lot of our buyers, though, don't want to deal with, again, that guy I'm working with in Palm Beach right now, he doesn't want to deal with this. He just wants to buy it and have pretty much everything done. And then if there's like something they did a little different where he'll spend the money to redo it, it's not like that big of a deal, even if it is, $100,000.
Right.
He just paid, $10 million for the thing. So it's like, whatever. At $18.16 million, the buyer is paying roughly $3,000 per square foot for the structure only. If the interior build-out runs $800 per foot, which is quite possible, the total cost basis lands near $23 million. That's wild. But, hey, this isn't insane. Recent comparable sales on Dunbar Road suggest a finished product could trade near $30 million. So again, this isn't surprising. I mean, there's tons of deals we can reference that traded 29.5, 30 million, again 30 million, 21 million, right? They're just all over the place in here, and this is just very common for Palm Beach Island.
Okay.
So,
All right, let's finish up with Delray Beach. We haven't talked about them at all today. 8 luxury townhomes just launched 1 block from Atlantic Ave. And here's what Casa Avenida is offering. It's 8 units, 1 block from Atlantic Ave, private pool in every residence. Groundbreaking in 30 days, according to the developer. We did our own research. And here's what we found. Costello Development and Ford TRO Development have launched Casa Avenida, a boutique collection of 8 4-story townhomes at 102 Southeast 5th Ave in downtown Delray Beach. Very nice. Each residence runs between 2,800 and 3,300 square feet with a second-floor cocktail pool, private in-unit elevator, 2-car garage with EV charger, and a rooftop outdoor kitchen. I feel like everybody's got an elevator today.
this goes without saying. You're putting an elevator in if you're in this price bracket.
Right.
And did it say how many stories this is? 4-story townhomes.
Yeah.
If you get above 2, it's
right.
It's definitely a must. Above 2, it's probably you should do it at 2, just given the price point. These guys paid what for 0.4 acres. That is like nothing, right? That's less than half an acre. They paid $3.8 million January 2025. Wow. 4 bedrooms, 4.5 bathrooms per unit with floor-to-ceiling windows, private second-floor cocktail pool, rooftop. You kind of went through all this, right? 2-car garage. Wow. It's just it's very interesting. Can you throw on the screen real quick, Ben, where this is? So you probably already kind of shared it, but let's see. You didn't? All right. So I'm ahead of you.
Hey.
Get on it.
102 Southeast
I said I
5th
did.
Avenue.
I got the Zillow up too.
Okay.
Look
All
at
right.
you.
So 102
All right.
Southeast 5th Avenue.
Zoom in a little bit so you guys can see Atlantic Ave going, east to west right there, that big yellow road. Okay. And then north to south is Federal Highway. This is right off basically Federal, walking distance to downtown. I mean, this is prime location. And this is on the south side of Atlantic Ave, east of Swinton, west of Federal Highway. And again, that south end of Atlantic, south of like 4th Street gets a little rougher. So this is within that like range where they're building all this stuff, where everything's kind of new. This is a good spot. And frankly, I think what was there was boring and old. So this is great. They should put these up. Let's get this done. It was time. It didn't fit the aesthetic, right? Oh, gosh.
The quaint seaside village with another win. So
Yes.
Congratulations to everyone involved with that project in Delray Beach.
And again, this product here is in demand, I would argue.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of a disadvantage being on Federal Highway. The stuff that's like tucked in some of these neighborhoods, a little bit more desirable. But either way, these things sell, and this is yet another good project for downtown Delray, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. So,
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
We ready to wrap?
Yep.
All right. On behalf of Larry Mastropieri, broker owner of the Mastropieri Group, I'm John Laws of Discover South Florida. Want to thank you all once again.